Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna get a little bit serious because I'm absolutely disgusted about what I'm gonna talk about. I spoke on my social media about this case involving a 15-year-old girl, an alleged victim of rape from this 19-year-old Iraqi refugee man in Western Sydney. And I'm gonna talk about the incompetent judge who let this man out on bail despite knowing the full breadth of the charges against him. Okay, to run down the incident, 19-year-old Iraqi refugee Abther Al-Athmany. This man and his 17-year-old accomplice, who is unnamed because he's a child still, lured this 15-year-old girl, this innocent 15-year-old girl, under the premise that she was going to the Meriton Suites in Parramatta, the hotel there in Western Sydney, to pick up a mobile phone for her friend. When she got there, she was lured into the hotel room. She wasn't allowed to leave. She was held captive, told to strip off her clothes, and then despicable acts were done to her at knife point under running cold water in the shower. Absolutely sickening. I can't even imagine this trauma and stress this girl had to go through during the incident and is now dealing with after the alleged incident. This ordeal was filmed by the alleged accomplices. They then plastered the photos all over her own Instagram, social media, and advertised prostitution and drug services. Now, the second part of this is that the girl's friend went to the hotel to check on her when she hadn't heard from her, and she was also told to come inside, and we're not sure of the details of what happened to her because there have been no charges laid in relation to this second girl, but it's also said to be quite despicable. The two girls then were able to escape at 3:30 in the morning and ran to a nearby relative's house who sounded the alarm and called the police. Now, this happened in August. The 19-year-old man was kept in jail for 3 months and was just let out on bail recently. The judge's name is Justice Richard Button. How this man, this apparently intellectual, smart, well-read, experienced justice of the court can allow, with all of the evidence put in front of him, can allow this alleged perpetrator out. And some are saying, judges' hands are tied. They can only work within the confines of the law. True, sometimes. Not in this case. This judge could have easily not let this guy out. This is what he said. Let me read it. My mind has wavered very much as to whether or not, in light of the gravity of what's alleged, he should spend many, many months in custody, bail refused, until all of this is resolved. I've come to the view that although there are unquestionably risks here, they are just barely mitigated by the rigor of what's been proposed by his barrister to the point of being rendered acceptable. What? Sorry, let's just go back to this bit. I've come to the view that although there are unquestionably risks here, unquestionably risks. Now, if there are unquestionably risks posed to innocent people of the community, young women, then why would you take any chances and let this guy out on bail where he could possibly reoffend? I would love to see how different this scenario would be if it was Justice Button's daughter or granddaughter in this position. The father of the accused pled the case for his son. He said that his son was a kind and loving family man. Okay, forgive me if I don't believe that. And that he suffered from depression and was bullied at school, and his family came from war-torn Syria and Gaza, and they had family members who were killed in those areas, and settling into Australian life after, of course, Australia very generously and welcomed them into this country with open arms as refugees. But his son apparently had trouble settling into school, he was bullied, blah, 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 blah. World's smallest violin I'm playing here. I could not care less if this guy was taken by Somali pirates and had his fingers chopped off. There is absolutely no excuse in the world that could justify the alleged behavior of this person. And his father trying to use his circumstances as a justification for the allegations shows that he is a weak role model for his son. and he is not someone whose opinion should be taken into consideration. Thousands of refugees and immigrants are taken into Australia every single year. Do they go out and commit heinous crimes? No, they don't. They get jobs, they settle down with their families, and they have pleasant and joyful lives and contribute to the community like everyone else. Same with kids. Millions of kids are bullied at school every single year. Do they go and become alleged rapists? No. Plenty of people have depression. They don't do these things either. All that I'm hearing here are weak excuses to justify heinous alleged crimes. And I also see a judge who's willing to take on those excuses and give this guy an out because he's so scared of being seen as a racist or a bigot or an Islamophobe. We see it day in and day out with the judiciary, letting people, dangerous, violent people out onto the street who should be in jail because they're too scared to give them a harsh sentence for fear that they're going to be labelled racist. We just saw it with the release of 140 asylum seekers who were in indefinite detention, let out into the community just last month, and 7 have already reoffended. There are just no words for this incompetence. Innocent people in the community are being put at risk so the egos and the reputation of these judges can be spared. And before anyone says it, this is not a race issue. Black, white, green, yellow, Christian, Muslim, agnostic, man, woman, they, them, I don't care who they are. If they're convicted of a violent crime or if they're charged with a violent crime, don't let them out on bail. If they're convicted, slap them with the maximum sentence. And if they're refugees and they're not from here, send them straight back. We don't want these people in the country. No second chances. Innocent people should not have to live with the fear of something bad happening to themselves or their family members because incompetent judges are more concerned with virtue signaling than protecting innocent members of our community.